What happened to the new Yankee workshop? For 21 seasons, it was more than just a TV show. It was a trusted guide for millions who wanted to build something with their own hands. Led by Norm Abram, the series turned complex woodworking into something calm, approachable, and even inspiring. So when it suddenly ended in 2009, fans were left stunned. There was no major controversy, no drop in popularity, and no clear goodbye. A fully funded, Emmy-winning show simply disappeared at the height of its success. And even more surprising, Norm didn't retire. He continued appearing on This Old House, which leaves one question that still lingers today. Why did a show this successful really come to an end? From workshop roots to an unexpected opportunity. Norm Abram was born on October 3, 1949, in Woonsocket, Rhode Island, but he was truly shaped in Milford, Massachusetts. From an early age, his world revolved around wood, tools, and craftsmanship. His father, a skilled carpenter, believed deeply in doing things the right way, and by the time Norm was just 9 years old, he was already learning the trade on real job sites, helping install hardwood floors. Throughout high school, Norm spent his summers working alongside his father, gradually developing an instinct for the craft, the feel of the tools, the patterns in the wood, and the satisfaction of building something from scratch. Still, like many young people, he didn't initially see carpentry as his future. He enrolled at the University of Massachusetts Amherst to study mechanical engineering, hoping to follow a more traditional path. But it didn't take long for him to realize that theory and calculations couldn't replace the hands-on work he loved. After switching to business administration and still feeling out of place, Norm made a bold decision. He left college just before graduating and returned to the workshop. Back in the real world, Norm spent several years working for a major construction company in New England, quickly proving himself and rising to the role of site supervisor. But he wanted more than just a position. He wanted independence. In 1976, he founded his own company, Integrated Structures, Incorporated, and began building a name for himself. One of his first major projects, constructing a general store on Nantucket, marked the beginning of a new chapter. That chapter took an unexpected turn in 1979 when Norm accepted what seemed like a routine job, building a small barn for a man named Russell Marash. But Marash wasn't just any client. He was a television producer with a sharp eye for talent. Watching Norm work, he saw more than skill. He saw precision, creativity, and a quiet confidence that stood out. Impressed, Marash invited him to join a new television project, This Old House, a decision that would change Norm Abram's life forever, the birth of a woodworking icon. The idea behind This Old House was simple: restore an aging Victorian home in Dorchester and let viewers watch the transformation unfold. But it quickly became more than just a renovation show. It was about teaching. And that's where Norm Abram quietly stood out. At first, he was just the carpenter on site, but it didn't take long before he was stepping in front of the camera, calmly explaining techniques and sharing practical advice like measure twice, cut once. Audiences connected with him instantly. He wasn't loud or flashy, just knowledgeable, steady, and genuine. As the show gained popularity, so did Norm. Viewers weren't just watching for the house anymore, they were watching for him. His careful approach, attention to detail, and deep respect for craftsmanship made him a favorite. Seeing this, producer Russell Marash realized there was an opportunity to build something more. If people trusted Norm to restore homes, why not let him teach woodworking directly? That idea led to the creation of the new Yankee workshop. By 1988, the concept was set. Norm's calm, methodical style had already proven that he could make complex work feel simple and even relaxing. The only thing missing was the right space. As it turned out, the perfect workshop already existed. The barn Norm had built years earlier in Marash's backyard. It was expanded and transformed into a fully equipped woodworking shop, designed to reflect Norm's style and precision. In 1989, the new Yankee Workshop premiered with a clear and compelling format. Each episode followed Norm as he built a project from start to finish, guiding viewers step by step. Sometimes it was elegant furniture, other times practical shop pieces, but every project balanced beauty with function. He blended traditional hand tools with modern equipment, showing that both had their place in great craftsmanship. What made the show special was its range. Beginners could follow along, while experienced woodworkers still found value in the detail and technique. Yet it never felt overwhelming. Norm's calm presence made even the most complex builds feel manageable. The workshop itself became part of the show's identity. Carefully organized and filled with tools, it looked like a dream space for any woodworker, though it wasn't in Norm's own backyard, but on Morash's property. In the early days, it didn't even have a proper door. So, true to form, Norm built one himself, the now famous sliding barn door, which he would close at the end of each episode, quietly signaling another job well done. Inside the workshop that inspired millions. Inside the new Yankee Workshop, the shop itself felt like a dream for any woodworking enthusiast, a 936-square-foot space that was both busy and beautifully organized. Every wall had a purpose. Along one side sat the back bench and drill press, while another held the miter station, storage units, and a radial arm saw. Tucked quietly out of sight were small modern touches, a computer, a TV, even a compact office, blending practicality with tradition. A staircase led up to a loft where jigs, sanding equipment, and dust collection systems were stored, making the space as efficient as it was inviting. At the heart of it all stood the table saw, the true centerpiece of the shop. Around it were outfeed tables, a large assembly area, and every essential tool within reach. In one corner, a dedicated finishing room gave each project its final touch, whether through varnish or paint. Everything had its place, and that sense of order reflected Norm Abrams' approach, precise, thoughtful, and intentional. But the show didn't stay confined within those walls. Over the years, Norm expanded his work beyond the shop, building outdoor structures like gazebos, sheds, greenhouses, and even a small sailing boat. From fences to flagpoles, he proved that if it could be made from wood, it could be built with care. And he did it all right in front of the audience. What truly set the show apart, though, was its purpose. Norm often stepped outside the workshop to visit museums, historic homes, and antique collections, studying classic craftsmanship before bringing those ideas back to life with his own modern touch. He didn't just demonstrate projects, he taught them, breaking down each step from selecting materials to applying the final finish. In doing so, he gave viewers something more valuable than instructions: confidence. By the time the show came to an end, Norm had completed over 235 projects on camera, each one crafted with the same attention to detail. The series earned multiple award nominations and built a loyal following across generations. And at the end of every episode, as that iconic workshop door slowly slid shut, viewers knew they'd be back again, ready to learn something new from the man who made it all feel possible. Why it all came to an end, and what happened next. After more than 2 decades of success, the new Yankee Workshop finally reached its final chapter. On October 16, 2009, WGBH Boston announced that no new episodes would be produced. The decision came from Norm Abrams himself. In his usual quiet and humble way, he simply reflected that the show had been a great journey, one filled with meaningful projects, talented people, and loyal viewers. The surprising part was that the show didn't end because it had to. Funding was still secure, sponsors remained supportive, and the audience was as strong as ever. By all accounts, it could have continued for years. But after 21 seasons and more than 235 builds, Norm felt he had done everything he set out to do. Rather than continue out of routine, he chose to step away, seeking more time with family and a life beyond the constant pace of production. For a while, the show still lived on online. Episodes were available through newyankee.com and the This Old House Insider subscription service, where fans could also access detailed project plans. It allowed viewers to revisit their favorite builds and keep learning from Norm's work long after production had stopped. That changed on September 5, 2022, when a licensing agreement between Morash Associates, WGBH, and This Old House Ventures expired. Without warning, the episodes were removed from streaming platforms. For many fans, it felt like the workshop doors had finally closed for good. But the story didn't end there. On January 13, 2023, Russell Morash appeared in a new video, standing once again inside the familiar shop. After giving a short tour, he shared the news that the series would now be available on YouTube, opening it up to a new generation of viewers. As he explained, "We are thrilled to know that YouTube is now showing the new Yankee episodes to a whole new generation of people who may have somehow missed out the first time it was around. And now they're available anytime you tune to YouTube and want to watch a feast of woodworking." Then, with a sense of quiet pride, he added, "It's all there, and it's all for you to enjoy, and I certainly hope you do." A legacy beyond the workshop. Beyond the new Yankee workshop and This Old House, Norm Abram's impact reached far beyond television. He wasn't just building furniture or restoring homes. He was preserving a way of thinking about craftsmanship itself. One of the roles he valued most was serving on the board of trustees at Old Sturbridge Village, a living history museum dedicated to keeping traditional skills alive. For Norm, that mission felt personal. He believed that craftsmanship wasn't something to be left in the past. It was something to be protected, practiced, and passed on. That same belief guided him when he was invited to deliver the commencement speech at North Bennett Street School in 2001. Standing before a new generation of builders, Norm emphasized that craftsmanship was more than technique. It was a mindset, a lifelong commitment to doing things with care and purpose. But he didn't just speak about it. He lived it. Through programs like Generation Next, he worked to inspire younger people to enter the trades, understanding that the future of the craft depended on those willing to learn it. Having started young himself, working alongside his father, Norm knew firsthand how powerful that early exposure could be. Yet for all his dedication, there was always a lighter side to him. Norm even stepped into the world of animation, voicing himself in an episode of Freakazoid titled Normadius, where he was humorously pulled into a bizarre adventure involving a wooden weapon. It was an unexpected role, but it showed that his calm, steady presence could fit anywhere, even in the most unlikely settings. He also made appearances on shows like Between the Lions and Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, along with commercials such as Foot Locker's House of Hoops, The Man Behind the Flannel, and the legacy he left behind. Over the years, Norm Abram became known for more than just his craftsmanship. His signature plaid shirt turned into a symbol of who he was. It reflected his personality, practical, reliable, and quietly confident. Paired with his calm, steady voice, Norm created a style that felt both reassuring and approachable. He never rushed, never overcomplicated things. Instead, he broke down even the most detailed projects into simple, clear steps, making viewers bow they could follow along and build something themselves. But Norm's teaching went beyond technique. He was deeply committed to safety, treating it as an essential part of the craft. Every episode began with a reminder about safety glasses, and throughout his work, he emphasized focus, patience, and respect for the tools. To Norm, woodworking wasn't just about creating something beautiful. It was about doing it the right way, without shortcuts or unnecessary risks. That dedication didn't go unnoticed. In 2009, The American Academy of Ophthalmology honored him with the EyeSmart Distinguished Service Award for promoting eye safety in workshops. Years later, in 2018, he received the Ken Burns Lifetime Achievement Award from Old Sturbridge Village, recognizing his role in preserving traditional craftsmanship and cultural history. Then, in 2022, the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences awarded Norm and This Old House a Lifetime Achievement Award at the Daytime Emmys, an acknowledgement of more than 4 decades of influence on television and beyond. That same year marked a major turning point. In May 2022, Norm announced he would step away from This Old House after 43 years and over 1,000 episodes. It was the end of an era. To honor his journey, PBS aired a special tribute titled The House That Norm Built, celebrating not just his work but the relationships and inspiration he had created along the way. Though he retired from television, Norm Abrams' influence didn't fade. Through every project he shared, every safety lesson he repeated, and every calm explanation he offered, he had already built something lasting, far beyond wood and nails. His true legacy lived on in the countless people he inspired to pick up their tools, take their time, and build something of their own.